which is also Channel 11. They came and they videotaped him. Child goes home at 9 months, just, got a heart transplant, never been home. Big story on TV. We went home on August the 19th. We were home for 3 days. And something started going wrong. Chase began to throw up. He became very lethargic. I get back on my technology and I start texting Aaron. And I said, Aaron, something's not right. What's going on? Well, if he's not doing this, if he's not doing that, it's really nothing to worry about. I said, Aaron, something's not right. If he's not doing this, Mom, I'm telling you, everything's okay. Mother's intuition said everything wasn't okay. So I promised myself I was not going to be that mother who felt like if anything goes wrong, I got to rush back to the hospital because I've had a hospital baby. I didn't want to be there. But something told me something was wrong. I took him back to the ER. He's still growing up, still very lethargic. But they're looking at me like, I don't know what you're here for, there's nothing wrong. We were in the ER for an hour and a half. And Chase began to have seizures. Seizures is not something that we've ever experienced in our time frame of being in the hospital. They took him in, they did a CT scan, and what they determined was Chase had a stroke. He had a bleed on the brain called a wet stroke. Chase, to the touch, was hot like fire. He began to swell. His head was beginning to swell because he had fluid on the brain. In walks the neurosurgeon, just as plain as he can, and he said, say goodbye, because there's nothing we can do. For 7 months, I watched my child go up and down. Just shortly before transplant, I was watching him die. But nobody ever told me to say goodbye. And in walks this neurosurgeon on this particular day and says, say goodbye. I forgot. This is our miracle team here. This is Dr. Fiore. This is Dr. Andrione. And this is Mary. They were part of our team who helped us all the way up to transplant. But in walks this doctor, and he says, Mom, you might as well say goodbye. And I thought, no, I'm not going to say goodbye. I'm going to go in with Chase, and I'm going to pray. After I got myself together, because I completely broke down. I went in, and I prayed with him. And I told him, I'll see you when you come out. Because we've made it this far. We're going to make it further. So I prayed with them. They took him back. Their initial plan was to cut his skull, remove the flap to relieve the pressure. He was in surgery like 6 hours. And when they came back, he said, Mom, there was nothing we could do. Now I suggest that you pray. I already did that, so I didn't need you to tell me that, but okay. Again, we're going to put him in the ICU. We're going to make him as comfortable as we can. Okay. A couple weeks later, they approached me and they said, Mom, we need to put in a shunt to start draining this fluid off. We're going to do it externally for right now. So they went in and they're like, Mom, you got to sign for it. For whatever reason, not like I hadn't signed over his life for a transplant. To sign over for them to put in this shunt was a totally different ballgame for me. I was prepared to be a heart mom. I was not prepared to be a mom of a child with a stroke. And I didn't know what that was about. I hadn't prepared myself for that. So that was a hard decision for me to make, but I made it. They put the shunt in, and I could literally watch the blood and the brain fluid just flow off his brain. And he slowly started coming back to himself because the fluid was going away. Then they said, well, Mom, can't leave it external forever. We got to put it on the inside. On my 30th, 21st 30th birthday, I had the hospital staff full. They thought I was 21 for real. On my 30th birthday, he went into the OR and they put in the external shunt. The next day he had to go back because there was a kink in it, but it was a success. Today, he's 3.5 years old. He'll be 4 in November. He just started school last year. He did half of a year because of his age, and he just started again last week. He's in special school district because of his stroke. He does have right side paralysis. He doesn't walk. He's fed by a feeding tube. That doesn't stop him from being a typical little boy. He's still bad.
He knows you're talking about.
But I know. But yeah, he's still bad. But transplant, I mean, for us, it was a wonderful thing. I really feel like if we hadn't gotten our heart from our donor, when he had his stroke, I don't really think he would have survived. Because his heart, I don't feel like could have taken any more than it had already been through. And that stroke really, really set him back. I actually wrote a letter to my donor family. My ex-husband and I wrote a letter to the donor family. And we basically let them know of everything that had gone on with Chase. And that was probably in November, December of 2010, right after he had his transplant. It wasn't until last year that I got a letter back from her. And I normally, when I give my speeches, I normally read the letter. I didn't bring it tonight. I'm sorry. I did bring a photo album that I will pass around too. But basically, our donor, his name was Jace. My son's name is Chase. Like, how ironic is that? He died 1 month after his 3rd birthday. His mom was dating a guy, and she left him in the guy's care while she went to work. And basically, he beat the child, and he had a subdural hematoma, is what her letter said. Mom's actually a nurse at the hospital where he was at. His story was, born to a mother addicted to drugs. Mom lost custody, didn't know the dad. Nobody in the family wanted him. So the nurse adopted him, and he became her son. And then the guy that she was dating abused him and caused him to die. And he gave Chase a second chance. He is the cutest little boy ever, and I hate that I didn't bring the letter to show you guys the picture. But here's Chase. He's quiet right now. I think he's a little under the weather, but he's busy, trust me. Larry knows back there. He's a busy guy. I've kind of bounced around in my story, but that's really my story. I pass around his photo album that has pictures of him, and you can see him from birth until I think the book stops at like 1.5. And then I keep saying I'm going to put more pictures in there, but I don't have to because you guys see them right now. So that's better than seeing any other pictures. So, but that's all I have for you. I thank you guys for listening to me. Jake asked me if I would be willing to answer any questions, if anybody has any questions for me. Yes.
Does Chase have a number?
Does he who?
Have a number like we who have transplants?
I don't know.
677? Gloria?
Oh, that's just.
Oh, it's just Barnes?
Oh, okay.
it's just Barnes.
We need to expand that.
Nobody's ever said anything to me about that.
It's number 1.
There you go, number 1.
There he is. I do want to say that, too, he takes like 12 medications. Yeah, he takes like 12 medications. He gets them all through his G-tube. 2 of them are anti-rejection medicines, 2 of them are blood pressure medicines, and then a lot of them are other medicines that replenish some of the things he loses from the transplant medication. So, but yeah, that's my little guy.
Cute.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Curious, so when they transplant a baby, a child like that, then the heart will just grow.
The heart grows. It's all based on the size. And so the little guy that Chase actually got his heart from, like I said, Chase was 7 months at the time, and this little guy was 3. So when they break it down by everything, size and weight and, you know, blood type and all of that. So the heart that he got for him fit perfectly, and as he grows, it will. So yeah, that's truly amazing. Any other questions? Thank you, guys.
Thank you.